So I did Ignition in 2017, and then I helped on the next year's Ignition, and then I helped on the project after that, and then I became a practitioner for Frantic when I graduated at 2019. Networking is like anytime you meet someone in the industry that does something that you're not doing, and then you just have to be yourself. Good thing about having that mindset, if I may say so, is that it's attractive to people, and therefore you're more likely then to get roles, things, opportunities that then allows you to further nurture the mindset.
You're on your second talk with them. Currently Metamorphosis, previously a fellow.
Yes.
And you're an ex-Ignition grad. Now you're on a break. Do you have any plans? Or are you fairly just like downtime? Like, what are you doing to keep yourself busy?
Oh,
now?
that's such a good question, Josh.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I'm joined today by Felipe Pacheco. I think I smashed the pronunciation.
Yeah, well
of
done.
that.
That's good.
Well practiced.
Yeah.
And today we're talking about kind of a life as a performer. So, Felipe, I'll do a brief intro of you before we kind of get started. You're currently part of Frantic Assembly.
Yes.
You're a practitioner, and you're on your second talk with them.
Yes.
Oh, my info. And currently Metamorphosis, previously a fellow.
Yes.
And you're an ex-Ignition grad.
Correct. All true things.
Yes, I've done my research well. So that's very, very, very brief for everyone, but you're about to get much more detail. And we're going to be talking about everything. We're going to be talking about everything. Yeah, you know, you're going to get it all. So this is a very exciting, fun episode. We've got a lovely little set here, so we hope that you video listeners appreciate that. But yeah,
too. I hope I don't have some random book titles that people are gonna cancel me for.
no.
Pretty kosher, most of them.
No?
Some of them are pretty on brand. I've got
Yeah,
a
Frantic one
book
there.
in here.
They
This
look
is
quite
one of the
interesting.
best things I've ever read.
I was drawn to that.
Look at
Yes.
this. I've also got the James Blunt book. Absolutely love James
You might get
Blunt.
some more book recommendations as the episode goes on. We'll see. So yeah, welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh. This is
Felipe.
And let's get started. I like to start with the question of asking about your inspirations. Personally, usually tends to be like family, but
Yeah.
professionally is kind of where I'm like people who stand out to you, who you've seen their work and you've gone, that's so cool. I want to do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't think I did like a written interview during the pandemic where I had to kind of list my inspirations. And I'm lucky enough to work for and with a company that was a massive one. And I think part of Frantic's appeal and its reach is with that younger crowd, you know, and all the schoolwork that we do and the how accessible the company's work is to students. And what that means is that everyone ends up like using Frantic as inspiration, and that's really humbling and really, really cool. And I'm not exempt from that. So I'm one of those people that sort of got caught in that web, a positive web. So Frantic, I guess, is like an obvious one, and I'm lucky enough, as I said, to be able to add to the company's work and work with them, which is absolutely amazing.
And you definitely have from the stuff I've seen.
I love new adventures. I think Matthew Bourne is awesome. I was also lucky enough to be in one of those shows. So that was so formative for me in terms of storytelling physically too. I think the clarity that they work with is unparalleled, I would say. And then, you know, like growing up, my inspiration was always people doing it ahead of me. So I remember like people at school I used to look up to, the rugby guys that did drama also because they were cool and also made drama cool. So I got a couple of those going through my head. My drama teacher and head of my youth theatre was absolutely pivotal, massive to everything I do now. Big shout out to Dan Me. It was absolutely sort of necessary, crucial to my development for sure. And all of those guys back at home, I think, you know, they're my family because my family don't live here. So they're my family back at home.
That's nice. Yeah, that's really nice.
And so I look up to them a lot as well. And plus their practice is absolutely excellent, which is interesting because you only get to know that after the event. So when you're going through shows and they're directing you and they're teaching you and all these things, you don't realize how good they are. So, and I realize how good they are now and how good my education was drama-wise.
Yeah, I just had a little idea, just for like the way that this would sound. If you swap, because we face
This
each
is
other quite a lot.
excellent.
Do you think? Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, and feel free to get closer. Let it kind of come in.
Let it come in.
Yeah, that's good.
Like this.
Yeah, I think that's good. I was just very aware that you'd turn to face me. And
Yeah,
then,
all the
like,
time.
You'd move.
Does this mean we're gonna have to redo all of that?
No, I
All
think
those beautiful answers.
they were very. They were very good. Yeah, I hadn't realized that you went to the same place as my cousin.
Off the ground.
No, but before that, your schooling.
Yes.
I didn't realize until recently.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's
Yeah.
cool. And then
I
off the
saw.
ground.
Yeah, I saw Noah really recently.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I was back home for a bit. He's a brilliant man.
He is. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
awesome.
I don't want to talk. Obviously, this isn't about my cousin. My cousin's very cool.
What a small world, though.
But yeah, like, it's interesting what he's doing now. I think he's interested in dentistry, which was so random because he spent his whole life blowing things up and doing
It's
theatre.
the most Noah thing in the
But
world.
it was just, yeah. Anyway, you went to Off the Ground,
Yeah.
which is in, where is Off the Ground?
The Wirral.
Is it in the Wirral? I thought it was in Liverpool.
We
It's
do loads
in
of work in and around
Okay,
Liverpool
yeah,
because it's so
maybe.
close. But
So that's like a youth theatre company.
yeah, it's youth theatre, but also has a professional
yeah.
wing.
And wasn't that your first professional experience?
Absolutely.
Was in that side of Off the Ground?
Correct. So I did a show at the Unity Theatre in Liverpool, which was my first professional thing. It's called Cotton Wool by Ali Taylor. And it was amazing. That's my dad's, still to this day, his favorite show, which is absolutely mental considering the stuff I've done post that.
In his mind, like, you've peaked.
I've
peaked
at 16.
16.
Crazy. And everything he watches now is like, yeah, I mean, it was all right.
How different is the stuff you do now to that first show? Because it's all physical, like using your body in wild ways. I mean, what was the show like? Was it?
The show was like, it was a 3-hander with actually, we had 2 other people who sort of wore all blacks and they did part of the movement sequence. So, but technically sort of like a 3-hander. So it's, I guess, smaller scale as a studio show. But I mean, it's not too dissimilar to what I do now. I guess it was just smaller scale, but still had like sort of, I don't know, relevance, grittiness, importance of some of the stuff that I'm lucky enough to do now, especially Metamorphosis. So that's what I mean when I say like how lucky I have been to do stuff like that. I was given the opportunity by Dan to be in that show when I was 16. Crazy. Professional theatre in Liverpool. And we smashed it. It was a good show. So that's the bar for me. You know, that's what I thought normal was. And so when I went on to do other things, without even knowing it, I was already operating at a level that I've been lucky enough to have been accustomed to was high. So
like from that show, has there been any like influences to you now as a creative, like, or connections or anything like from your first professional work? Has that like led into other opportunities for you? Or has it been separate?
No, I mean it all gets funneled into the same sort of experience category, doesn't it? Like everything just counts towards everything you've done before counts towards what you're doing now. And you know, people say like you stand on the shoulders of giants. That is correct. But you also need to find the strength in your own legs to stand up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A bit of a wishy-washy way to say, yes, everything counts up until this moment. Whatever you might be doing, an audition, a rehearsal, walking on for your 76th show and you're so tired, you need to find that strength for somewhere too. So it's giving reverence to the past and people that have come before you, and also respecting yourself, which is something that, you know, took me ages and ages and ages to be able to do.
Respect yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an important one. I think like at an amateur level, there isn't necessarily, because that's where I'm at, there isn't necessarily like a lot of self-respect with lots of people, even myself. But I think if you're going to become a professional, you kind of got to.
You need to believe it first. Yeah. It's really hard.
My teacher said it to me all the time. They say, Josh, do you want to be the best? I was like, yeah. I like, believe it then.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's natural, normal, and common. That's like everyone struggles with that, you know, which I think we might get onto, but that is absolutely everyone in this world will have moments like that. Even people like Cristiano Ronaldo. There'll be some days where he's like misses a sitter, you know. I use sporting analogies all the time because they're so commonplace and people get them, and they're really easy references. But those are moments too where you know, elite people working at the top of the game, they're mentality monsters. So he doesn't have those moments often, probably, but he will have them. And it's just about experience, just about like shutting down that little voice and giving the good voices in your head the platform. It's so hard, man, especially in the arts where things are less structured, i.e. you're not performing always. There are troughs, and so when you're in that trough, the voice that says that you're not good enough for all that stuff is higher than the voice that's saying like, yeah, go for it, you're the best, respect yourself, keep going, let your lines do the work, it'll all be worth it.
I guess this kind of leads into building support networks, kind of going kind of into your professional kind of life. I think a podcast like this, most of our listeners are probably people interested or currently in kind of that professional world, and so having that kind of structure to fall back on, because like you're saying, you've got peaks and you've got troughs, you've got time, and this is something we'll talk about: time where you have work, time where you don't have work, kind of what you do in between. Super important. So you did Ignition, and am I right in saying that was kind of your springboard into the kind of the world you're currently in?
Definitely the world that I'm currently in. Ignition, for me, did many things. It gave me a job when I wasn't acting, because, well, it's probably useful to give a bit of context. So I did Ignition in 2017, and then I helped on the next year's Ignition, and then I helped on the project after that, and then I became a practitioner for Frantic when I graduated at 2019, and I'm so proud of that. Like, not many people, you know, I guess not many people do that. Who's lucky enough to work for like the company of their dreams right out of uni, right? So that was really important for me, and what it did was give me a job whilst I wasn't performing. I just finished, graduated in July, August, and then started working for Frantic in September. So I didn't even have a gap. Well, really, where I wasn't earning enough money. So then I was able to earn money, live in London. And then what Ignition also did for me was give me contacts that led me to my first agent. And when I got my first agent, started auditioning for a load of things, and the rest is history. Like, it just escalates from there.
Yeah. So Ignition kind of was that.
Ignition did everything. Yeah. Well, not everything, because Off the Ground did a lot.
Things, yeah.
And then before that, when I was 5 years old, doing speech and drama classes was the first thing. But then my parents being, really open, liberal, very encouraging was the thing after that. But before that, even. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? It's about that.
And where you went to study as well, because you were at GSA?
I went to the University of Surrey under the GSA umbrella, correct.
And what was the course?
Theatre and Performance.
Theatre and Performance.
Yeah.
What does that kind of entail?
Good word. So what did that entail? The course was like half theory, half practical. And the cool thing about it was that you could pick modules from other courses too, interdisciplinary modules. So I did a load of dance modules too.
Nice.
Because I really liked physical theatre.
Yeah.
So that's how I shaped my course. And it enabled me, different to a drama school degree, it enabled me to have lots of time. Just something you don't get when you're training.
Nope.
No time at all.
Nope.
We had loads of rehearsals, don't get me wrong, for our own projects, and that took up a lot of time. But it actually meant that I was able to do something like Ignition and really throw myself into it. And it enabled me to run Theatre Society. I was the president in my second year.
Wow. And
get involved in extracurricular stuff, go to watch lots of things, do a whole bunch of stuff, which was actually really good for me, for my personality, my character.
Yeah, like the opportunities that it gave you, and being able to, like, I guess, just volunteer to do everything.
Do everything,
Kind of shows kind of what you need to do as well. You've always got to be open to.
That's the single most, like, people ask me all the time when we do Q&As. It's like, any advice for young actors? That's like number one. Do as much as you can. Yeah. Because then the stuff that you don't like as well as the stuff that you do like. It's a no-brainer, really. But until someone tells you, it's like, oh yeah, you should probably do more than you think you can, but then also take care of yourself. That's where it gets you.
Hmm.
That's the bit that no one...
The balance.
Yeah, that's the little footnote that no one reads. It's like, terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, it's very true.
You
It's
know?
very true. I've learned. I think I'm at a good place with that now.
Good.
Like, I allow myself rest.
That's great.
Which, I'd say I'm quite proud of.
Yeah, you should be, man. That's really hard. That takes people years, monks, years of training.
Yeah, I think it's just, I had post-viral fatigue for a year. Like, I'd burnt myself out before. And it's one of those things where it's like, you do it once, you never want to experience it again.
Trust me.
It's terrible. Because it went from that, and then we were straight into COVID, and then came out. Like, I've missed...
Just blink and you're...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And COVID was wild. How badly did that affect you?
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, it was real bad. I mean, like, I was about to say professionally as well as sort of socially and emotionally. But now I'm kind of thinking that I'm the sort of person who kind of makes the best out of a crappy situation. So I actually used COVID to make a lot of videos with my brother.
Nice.
Who now works as a videographer. COVID changed his career trajectory to something that he really enjoys now, which is fantastic. And so I'm trying to think if it was detrimental career-wise. I mean, I think it was, in the long run, because who knows what could have happened in those 2 years, right? I was auditioning for some pretty cool stuff. But at the same time, who knows when that might have gone?
Yeah.
So you can't even... There's no point in dealing with these things or dwelling on them,
Yeah. COVID for me is the whole reason that I'm doing this now, because I started my first Zoom podcast because I was bored in COVID.
There you go.
And now I was like, after COVID, once we finished that, I was like, okay, get through my A-levels, and I want to start like an in-person one.
Fantastic.
And I mean,
here you are.
Here we are doing it.
Thank you, COVID.
It was tough. It was very tough.
It was horrible. It was horrible. But, it pays to think about the good things that it brought. Although I would never, ever wish it ever again.
Oh, no. I spent a lot of it just gaming and not developing myself as a performer. But, it's led on to some things, which, I got a place. Have you heard of Tring Park?
Tring Park?
Yeah. So it's like this sixth form drama school.
Oh, nice.
And before COVID, I'd got a place there, but we couldn't afford it because it was very expensive. And we'd worked out that if I had gone, most of my course would have been spent at home in lockdown, and I'd still be paying $60,000.
There you go, you see.
So it saved me money as well. It has. So yeah, lots of things negative. Some things, it's nice to see the positives.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all you should try and pick out from things, and learn from the negative stuff.
Yeah.
If you can.
Back to Ignition.
Yeah.
So me and Kaitlin, who's currently filming, we've tried it 2 years in a row now. And both times unsuccessful.
How old are you guys?
Keep going. I've just turned 19.
99. So you have 6 and 5 years to keep going.
Yeah. So we are going to keep
going all the time.
I've said for years now, Frantic is the company that I'd love to work with. And so like for people who are watching who maybe are in the same place as us in terms of like tried for Ignition, and then because this is probably going to a very Frantic Assembly audience, or those who are interested, firstly, do it because it's a free workshop. 2 free workshops, actually. It's
correct,
2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty hard.
Warm-ups get you.
But I love it. And also, like, I think this goes with auditions in general. Like, just keep going.
What other choice do you have?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Not do?
And why would I not do it? Because
exactly.
It's a good experience.
It's free.
Yeah.
The only plausible answer to that is I can't get to it, or it's expensive. Like things that make it inaccessible.
Yeah.
If those 2 things you can manage to do, there's no excuse. If you enjoy it. If you hate it, obviously.
Yeah. But no, I enjoy it, and one day I've got my fingers crossed. Were you your first trial audition?
I was. No, I was the second go. I did it when I was still living in Liverpool. / I was living in Chester at the time, so I did it then. But I couldn't make I couldn't actually make the days, so I can't remember or not if I went to a trial. I'm a 1.5 goer because I can't remember, but I certainly did it a second time, and that's when I got in, because then I did the trials in London then. But I was still up north technically. I was living there. I was just studying down south, so I kind of counted as a northerner in the sort of trial process.
Yeah.
There's a guy that works for Frantic, brilliant a practitioner, brilliant director, artist called Sean Hollins, master of all games. And big shout out to Sean. And he got in his last possible ever year.
Oh wow.
I think that's right. I'm right in saying that. So he's testament to the fact the guy works for Frantic. He was associate director on Curious, the last Curious tour.
Yeah.
So what else?
Well,
what else
go.
do you need? That's proof. Proof is in the pudding.
And the thing is, like, it's all about networking. It's about meeting people.
Yeah,
even if you don't get any, if you just do the trials, if you do whatever, you meet so many people.
Yeah.
And clearly, you being part of it, the networking from that has led on to so many opportunities.
Yeah.
I think it's something that so many young people worry about.
Networking.
Because they're like, how do I do it, or how can I successfully do it?
So true.
Because so much of the industry is kind of who you know to get yourself in the room to show off your talent. Because so many people are talented. There's thousands of talented people, and it's kind of getting your face and your name out there.
It's
so that
so
people
true,
know.
man.
Yeah, and it's really tough. It's really tough because
It is
obviously
tough.
Ignition for you was definitely like a here I am type moment.
Yeah,
Like
I think you're
look
right.
at me. And obviously they take, was it 24 people each year? So
Yeah.
it's like
It used to be 12. Now
it's
it's
quite
24.
select. Yeah, they have doubled recently, haven't they? And they're now taking on kind of like all genders because I
Yes.
think they were quite
It
specific.
was just boys originally. Yeah. People identifying as men. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's open for everyone to do, but it's about finding other opportunities out there as well. Is there any that you're kind of familiar of? Any schemes? I've got a couple.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd say
you should go for it. I don't have any specific that come to mind now, but one Google search will take you places you never would have imagined.
Yeah.
The really cool thing about the arts in this country especially is that if you're a company that receives outside funding, one of the prerequisites of that funding is that you have outreach programs and educational bits to your company. You'd be hard done by to find a company in London or elsewhere in the country that doesn't have that. That is like music, should be music to your ears if you're like a young person wanting to do the arts, because the amount of stuff out there is awesome. And most of it probably, I would go out on a limb and say probably accessible. Some of it more competitive and you might have to sort of maybe audition and things like this, but that only gets you prepared for stuff in the industry. So.
Yeah, something that I've luckily had the experience of doing is, this is musical theatre related now. This is NYMT and BYMT, which I think I've talked about previously in different episodes. And for anyone who hasn't heard of them, like, they're definitely something to look at. They're not the most accessible because you have to audition and you have to travel to places, and there's a fee that comes with the course. But in terms of the experience of auditioning, like, it's a proper full-on kind of audition.
Yeah, my first ever sort of audition outside of school was the National Youth Theatre.
Oh, NYT. Yeah, that's also a big one. They do loads now, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Tons.
They have done a lot.
Yeah. It's one that I was always kind of interested in looking at, but I think as a confidence thing, I never considered myself as an actor. I was like, well, I just move. I'm just a mover.
What do you consider yourself now?
That's a tough question.
You don't have to answer it now. Like, it changes a lot.
Yeah, well, I can't. There is kind of an answer, which is I don't consider myself as anything, because since coming to drama school, I do a musical theatre course. I went thinking I was a dancer because I do contemporary dance and like acro stuff. However, because I'm having to learn all these other dance styles, which I now I keep up with, but I don't excel at, I'd say I'm pretty even between the singing, the acting, and the dance. I have some elements of dance I'm very strong at, contemporary, kind of the more physical stuff, which is where my love for physical theatre kind of came from, like gymnastics. But because I haven't done jazz before, haven't done commercial, haven't done tap, and not as much ballet, I feel pretty even with everything. And there isn't one that I'd say is a strong suit.
Interesting. It's really good, man. Come back to that question throughout your career because it will change and morph naturally.
Yeah. And I'm starting to enjoy acting loads.
Really?
And I'd never put myself out there for acting, or I'd never put myself in like uncomfortable or positions that required me to do stuff on my own. However, in all of my classes, I'm like up there getting the teacher to workshop with me or whoever's doing a scene with. And for the first time ever, I've considered, well, maybe I could go for like an acting principal like role in a musical theatre show. I've always been like ensemble. It's going to hide at the back.
That's great.
Just do my dancey dance, have some fun.
I always think ensemble is the hardest role anyway.
It is hard.
In a
It is hard, yeah.
In a musical.
But I enjoy it, and because of the dance aspects, like I find that quite not easy, but easier.
Easier, yeah. You pick it up easier.
And I always worry about having to do like lines.
But imagine you were at a point in your life where you didn't pick up dance, so you'd be doing it forever. You just don't know. But that first couple of your first ever dance lesson, could you do the choreo quickly?
I still can't. No, I can in contemporary, but
that's what I'm saying.
Styles,
so you're only at the beginning of your journey in the other things. It will get easier.
True. Yeah.
And the same thing, you mentioned about networking. It's the same thing. Like practice makes it much easier. What I consider networking now, and I used to like cringe at the word every time, because it doesn't come naturally, especially to a British audience. Americans are much better at it. They're just more confident, I guess. Find it easier to like unlock this like sort of charisma that just goes boom.
Yeah.
Anyway, besides the point. So I used to cringe a lot at it, but I think I've redefined networking. To me is just about practicing and just going to sort of, I wouldn't necessarily even call them events. It's just like networking is like anytime you meet someone in the industry that does something that you're not doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Basically. Or that not in your circle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just have to be yourself. That's maybe
the hardest,
a hard thing to do. But then that's networking got easier for me when I would just try to be myself instead of trying to like hit all the points that like a networking class would tell you to do. And I think now I the hardest part for me is like swallowing that little bit of fear that's like, oh God, I don't want to have to talk to strangers. And that was just practice, like swallow the fear.
Yeah.
And then you're out the door and you go
that.
for it,
I get that.
It's natural.
I'm even between being introverted and extroverted. And a lot of the time meeting someone new or whatever, where it's like, oh, I have to have a conversation, I try and shy away from it when I can. Weirdly, I do a podcast. But this is my excuse from the beginning to battle that kind of fear.
You're networking in the extreme doing this.
I think so.
Yeah.
That was the plan. Because it puts me in environments that I can handle in terms of talking to people. Like I know what the structure, I know what's going to happen. Like I'm in control in that sense. That's of great. The networking.
Yeah.
And it means that I get to kind of talk to super interesting people who have super interesting stories. And so it's why, because you know how people struggle with like motivation, people kind of say like how easy it is to give up on things. I think people who create content, one of the biggest things, which you can say it's not there, but people like track the views, track how well things do. And, when things aren't successful, it's very easy to give up. So I think with podcasts, it's like if you can make it through 10 episodes, you're in the top 10% of all podcasts.
There you go. I was saying something to Kaitlin about that before. I was like, I want to see the statistics on that. You just said it. Yeah. I mean, that's with anything.
Mm-hmm. And so the point which has kind of gone from my head. But I think it was a good point. So I want to try and think of it again. What was I saying? I was saying about how, motivation is that the reason I keep doing this is because obviously, it's cool to track your statistics and how many views things get. But this is my safe space to talk to people. This is like, I don't necessarily do it really for how well things do. Mm-hmm. There is an aspect, like a business aspect of like, what can we do? Kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, I could keep doing this for years because I can keep having a reason to message someone and say, hey, can we do an episode?
That's brilliant.
Which otherwise you wouldn't necessarily just casually reach out to someone.
Yeah.
So I recommend people do podcasts. They're great.
Do them.
Hard work, but nothing in life is easy, is it?
No.
I had a list of questions. I've written them down. We've kind of already talked about Frantic. Oh, but you're on tour. That's the big thing, isn't it? You're currently on tour. You're on a break.
I'm on a break now for Christmas because no one wants to be seeing Kafka over Christmas, which I think is a very astute decision by the producers. Kafka, if you don't know who Kafka is, Give him a Google. You will not want to see him over Christmas. Not jolly times.
Metamorphosis is very, I haven't seen it, but I've seen kind of clips, and it's very like a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lot.
it's scary, isn't it? It's a bit sort of like a, I don't know. I think sort of nowadays you might even call it a sort of I don't know, like a psychological thriller. Maybe I wouldn't go that far, but it's infamous, isn't it, as it being like a really dark story.
Yeah. What's being on tour like? Because
Crazy.
I think it'll just be the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's very cool. Like the coolest thing for me about it is traveling all around the UK. That is amazing. I think this country is fantastic, and getting to see all the different shapes, sizes, colors is awesome. So I really relish that as part of the touring package. And also getting to see the different theaters is awesome. Getting to work with different people in those theaters is really cool. Getting exposed to different audiences is amazing. You'll be really surprised the reception that it gets in Liverpool compared to the reception it gets in Guildford, compared to the reception it gets in York, compared to the reception it gets in Leicester. The list goes on. And that is really, really special. It's not something I guess a lot of people have as an experience. So I really like that side of it too. And I also like the side of that you form a family with the people that you're with. You know, these are relationships that are extremely intense, real, and felt because you're in each other's pockets for a long time. So there's all the good aspects of touring. The sort of harder aspects to deal with is that it's super tiring. It's really, really tiring. You get like one day off and one day to travel to the next place before you're at it again. And this is a pretty long tour. It's longer than the other one was.
Yeah, because I saw you're still going throughout next year.
Yeah, and go Jan till March next year, which is good financially. Not so good for the old muscles. But I take a lot of care of myself. That's good. I kind of have to, so. And I'm absolutely, there are days where it's hard to kind of like motivate yourself, but I'm super proud of the work that I've done and I'm doing, and the role that I have is very fulfilling artistically. And so, I have to remind myself of that more often when I'm in an ice bath after a show, hating life, just like shivering in the depths of Worthing, just realizing that you're doing a good thing. And hopefully that will be a springboard to other things too,
Yeah, well, because you're constantly meeting new people.
Yeah.
And your name is just getting out there. I think, it's kind of getting your first few jobs are probably like the hardest because
I think that's true. Yeah.
Your name's not going to be known or be familiar.
Yeah. Do you think Giles Terrera has to audition for anything anymore? Maybe you do, Giles. I don't know. I saw you in Clyde's the other day. You were excellent. But like,
I don't know.
Side note.
I don't know.
You do. He played, he was in Hamilton. I think pretty sure he was Hamilton. He's quite famous.
Do you know?
Anyways.
Kaitlin's my source for like knowing people.
But anyway, my point is like maybe the first couple of jobs were hard, but now don't have to audition probably for stuff. People come knocking on his door.
Yeah. Now you're on a break. Do you have any plans, or are you fairly just like downtime? Like, what are you doing to keep yourself busy?
Oh,
now?
That's such a good question, Josh.
I'm glad I asked a couple good questions.
I really work on this hard, and I talk to my counselor about it too. I do counseling bi-weekly because it's just super necessary.
Bi-weekly,
my well-being,
being once every 2 weeks or twice a week.
You know what? I've said bi-weekly, and I don't know if I've nailed the definition.
Yeah,
do they?
Yeah, it's used both ways.
Once every 2 weeks.
Once every 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's what I meant to say.
Fortnightly. There we go. That's what's good. Yeah. In a conversation we've had before, you'd said like you think that everyone should have counselling.
If I was emperor of the world,
if you were
my first decree. Yeah, everyone needs it.
Why is that?
I think it's a sort of relatively selfish, and I don't use the word negatively. It's like just a selfish analysis of it. It's helped me immeasurably, and so I can't not see how it wouldn't help someone if they find the right counselor for them, which is a process. I understand that, but it takes two to tango. You have to be open to that person too. So I mean, I bang on about. I'm such an advocate for it. The same way you go to the gym, you should go to the mind gym.
Mm.
You know, you have to keep on top of it. At least that's how I do. And there are loads of different things that people do: yoga, reading, meditation, all of these things that allow, quite commonplace in 2023. Thank the Lord. That's great. But for me, counseling is unbeatable.
Yeah.
It's a place where my counselor knows more about me than anybody in my life, because I can say things unadulterated to him, because there's no conflict of interest. There's nothing. It's just a stranger listening to everything you have to say. And those are my deepest, darkest secrets, my worst and my best, happiest moments.
Damn.
And he doesn't take it home with him. That's also his job, I think that's just such an incredible thing that someone can occupy in your life that you wouldn't get in any other circumstance, because the relationships you forge with other people have a conflict of interest, whatever that is. No, it's not negative. It just is the case. So I do counseling. And what did I say? Oh yeah, I've been working on this really hard with my therapist, because when you go from something like a touring show, it's like 100% commitment, energy, drive, everything. You're in that moment, and then to zero, just like from one day to another. Right, finish on the Saturday. Maybe you have Sunday to gather your thoughts and see your loved ones, and then they go off to work, and you're stuck at home on a Monday, boom, with the crickets. Tumbleweed. That is a horrible place to be. And your mind like catches up with your soul. It just like collides in this fury that just boom, hits you with everything it has. And then you're sort of anchored and thrown to a place that is not comfortable. All of these dramatic descriptions aside, like what I've really had to learn is that I can't go from 100 to 0. I need to go like 100, 75, maybe 90, then back to 50, 62, 48, 37, 38, 37, 36, 20,
and
0.
And build down here.
Yeah. Otherwise, well, it's just a no-brainer. If you're at the top of if you're on a roller coaster designed to go from 100 to 0, the emotional effect of it, in the roller coaster's case, you're like, rah, you're screaming, but it's really big.
Yeah.
But if that roller coaster was designed to go ding, 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 just a little step down,
It'd be quite nice.
it'll be like a lovely, you wouldn't even notice it, right? The gradient would be less.
How do you do
so
that?
That's
then?
what I'm trying to do
Yeah.
now. How do I?
How?
Wow. I really try and get a routine going, which I've been less successful at last week. I kind of used last week as a week to do nothing and try and not be hard on myself for it. That was unsuccessful. I was really hard on myself, and I was struggling. I was really anxious going to bed. So this week, boom, I need to be on it. This is where the routine kicks in.
Yeah.
My anti-anxiety routine, superhero routine.
Yeah.
So I try and do yoga. I didn't want to work out so quickly post-show because the show is so physical, and I'm the strongest and fittest I've ever been, probably. So I wanted to give my body a rest. But actually, I need to do that too. So I need to work out now to get those endorphins going. I work out a bit sooner than I'd expected. Yeah. So I do that. I do yoga, I work out. I try and read a lot because it calms my mind down. And I try and read stuff that is, I guess, beneficial to that too.
When you visited me on the train, you came with a book.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so... I was like, wow, that's like really nice. That's such a healthy kind of just way of living. Just like going around with your book.
I mean, don't be fooled. Like you saw a snapshot of the day. That was a good day.
Yeah.
I also fall foul of the doom scroll.
Oh,
sometimes.
Yes, me too.
Me
too.
And I really try not to do that. I hide my social media in like a tab in the depths of my phone, and I only try and use it for professional things, because for me it's a quick spiral if I get into that. I try and eat well. I have my counseling sessions, which help me to absolutely no end. And what else do I do? I just try and nail that routine, basically, and have a list. I have a to-do list that's like the size of my leg. And you'd be surprised what's on my to-do list. My to-do list is things like, it ranges from emailing casting directors, which is like a big thing, to like go and get eggs or read 5 pages of a book or repot a plant. It's like tiny things.
Hmm.
And what that does is, once I've crossed that off the list, it's delicious.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I've accomplished stuff. So again, it's all about flattening that gradient.
Hmm.
And
To-do
I
lists
watch
are great,
football a lot, which is
Okay.
great, which I don't get to do on tour.
Yeah, I've never really got into football. I follow Wrexham. I quite like because of the series.
Don't we all? Yeah, absolutely.
Loved it. I thought it was brilliant. They're doing so well now as
That's
well.
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the documentary.
It's crazy
great.
to see where like they've come, because like, on their feed they post like each match, whether they win or lose. And the last few weeks it's just been like win, 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 win. I was like, wow,
It's so good.
yeah,
It's so good.
it's amazing kind of what you can do like, as someone with influence.
Yeah,
such
100%.
as,
It's so funny as well that the
Burren is.
owners are people in the arts, right? They're both
Yeah.
actors, because I think there's so much crossover between sport and acting.
Do you think?
I
so?
think you've done a podcast on it, haven't you? Have you not talked about it?
We've talked about
Crossovers?
kind of. I don't know. It depends what you mean. Like the episodes that we've done to do with sports has been like benefits for sports house. If that's what you mean by crossover. If you mean by crossover as like sporting people going into the arts or arts into sports.
No, I mean that they're similar. The Venn diagram of the disciplines is
okay.
overlaps.
Yeah. Okay,
a
that
lot.
we have talked.
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
We have talked about. It is true.
I'm
Yeah.
living a bit of my childhood dream doing Metamorphosis of being a footballer, because it's so similar. I have to treat myself like as an athlete would, whilst also going on stage and doing the show.
Yeah.
So can't complain too much. Living the dream.
I wanted to ask you about habits.
Yo, yeah.
Yeah. So like habits that, because everyone has their own habits. Some are good, some probably aren't as good.
Yeah.
And I think as a performer, making sure that you've probably got a couple good habits can go a long way. Do you have good habits and do you have bad habits, and what are they?
Like during the show.
Yeah, during
getting
whilst
prepared.
on tour.
You are a great
and like you
person.
as person.
I have good habits, like physical well-being. I have good habits when it comes to that for sure. I'm really disciplined. So that really helps, because I mean, if you're hurting and sore, then it's such a mountain to climb the next day, and then to switch on mentally too. You might as well do one of those things. So the physical side for me, I have good habits when it comes to that.
Do you stretch out a lot, or like massage?
Yeah, massage gun, rolling, stretching.
I need to get a roller.
Ice bath.
Yeah, ice bath. But I'm scared. I can't lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's not nice, but also at the same time, nicest thing in the world after. It's like the worst, best thing. It's such a life hack, the ice bath for physical stuff. Makes you, you're just a new person. It feels like someone's ripped off your skin and put a new one on.
I try to get into like cold showers, like ice cold showers.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
But I would go in and I'd be like, and then like run out.
Run. You just got to build it up incrementally.
Yeah.
The ice bath, I'll tell you why the ice bath is good, because you have no choice. You go plunge yourself in, and then you have to just breathe.
Yeah. How long do you stay in for?
I do 3 minutes.
Okay. And is it literally ice, or is it just completely cold water?
Usually you can get away with just being cold water. There's some places we go, I tell them I have an ice bath, the people in front of the house, and they come back with a bucket of ice. I'm like, oh, thank you. And that is hard. That hurts.
Yeah.
But it's also really good for you.
I mean, maybe it's something I'll look into. I know it does have a lot of good benefits for you. And I watched an episode on, I think it was must be Disney or something, of, I think it was
Wim Hof. Is it
no,
Wim Hof?
no. I think it was a celebrity, like maybe Chris Hemsworth, and he did this whole big challenge, and one of them was swimming in the Arctic or whatever. And yeah, there's good benefits. It was about like trying to live longer. There was interesting stuff in there. I just don't remember things. I don't know why. Something with my memory, like, because you'll say references or stuff. For example, Lord of the Rings, and I love Lord of the Rings, but I don't pick up on all the references. Or like musical theatre shows, someone could quote something, but I've watched like 2-3 times. I'd be like, "Oh, that was in the show, was it?" Or like they'll talk about. I don't know.
I think it's practice. Weird. It's just like whatever benefits you.
Yeah.
As in, like, it benefits me to remember these weird quotes, because I'm always devising theatre and coming up with stuff.
Yeah.
Because the more sort of inspiration and like catalogs of different random things I can draw on, the better.
Frantic,
true. Yeah, and Frantic do something for every show that's called they do what's the word for it? They do like a pack, a resource pack for every show that they do, and at the back of that resource pack is a bibliography of inspiration.
Okay, nice.
And it's everything that's inspired,
Yeah.
tasks and different things we brought into rehearsals. And I would recommend taking a look at that because it is the randomest collection of things that Scott Graham, the artistic director, draws from, and as well like what people in the room also bring in into rehearsals and research and development sessions is amazing. So like a Simpsons joke is as good as a reference if it suits whatever you're doing than some really deep sort of academic thing or maybe like a scene from a film, or you know, you get the picture.
Yeah. I think I just like to watch things and like enjoy them.
Yeah. There's value in that too.
You know, and I found that with dance now, I can't watch to enjoy. I'm always watching to analyze.
Really got the analytical thing, yeah.
But things like movies or whatever, I'm just more of a like a you know, chill.
I know of people that are so high up in their sort of discipline that can't go watch because like I would have done it my way, you know.
It kind of takes some of the enjoyment out of it, in a sense,
for sure, yeah.
Because it's a little bit like I just want to be able to not judge, not, you know. So yeah, it is an interesting thing, and I'm glad that it hasn't affected me with like shows now, in terms of like the acting side of things. When it comes to lines, this is something that I think everyone's always asking or interested in. What's your approach to like learning, and do you do it like in bulk, or do you like just do a little and often? Because it's some things that like in my classes currently, a couple like students, you know, find difficult lines, and so there's loads of different methods. What's worked for you?
In terms of whether I do it little by little or bulk, it kind of depends on what I'm learning. If it's like a stream of consciousness, like a monologue, it usually benefits you to do it bulky-ish. You like do a chunk of it, because then you know, if you're familiar with the thought process, then you learn it quicker because you know what the character's going from and jumping to. So I guess for me, it benefits me doing that in bigger chunks. When it's like a really snappy dialogue, ding, 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 then I tend to be slower. Oh, sorry, dude. Sorry. I tend to be slower in memorizing that. They're the hardest bits. So sometimes I like record me doing the other
character. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I love that technique. Brilliant.
So I do that sometimes when it's particularly snappy. Otherwise, I do it before bed. A lot of times that really helps. Ram it in. So you just, for whatever reason, Dan Me, the artistic director of Off the Ground, who we spoke about, that's what he said once. He was like, do it before bed. And I've done that ever since. So that really helps me just before bed. It kind of stays in your head. It swims in your subconscious, apparently.
I guess, yeah, when you're like falling asleep, it's like the last thing you remember of, which does make sense, because I've always quite struggled with learning things, especially in bulk. And the other day we have one of our assessment tasks for first year is doing a persuasive speech. And I thought that we could like just read off. We wrote one. I thought we could like read off from the paper as we do a speech, but we had to learn like the like, I don't know, it was like 2 minutes. And so like a couple of nights before, I was like, okay, I'm just going to get this done. And so it was before I went to bed, and I managed to do the entire thing and get it off script. It took me like 2.5 hours, but in that like one night, and I was like, great. It's like an achievement. It was a little goal. I added it to a little list of things like that I've managed to achieve, and
that's
it's like
great.
It's so celebrate. Nice. I think tracking progress as well.
Oh man,
you know,
that's a life hack
too. Important. Yeah.
We're geared naturally to not do that. So you should do
very
it.
True. And I don't do it enough, but every now and then.
Good man.
You know, I have write down like, I've done this.
Yeah, fantastic.
Because otherwise you just forget all the things you've achieved, and all you think about is the things that you still need to do, or you haven't done yet.
Terrible.
Which isn't healthy, you know?
Yeah, a bit of that, right? It drives you on, but yeah, you're right. Too much of it sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about mindset and like how you've developed now your professional mindset. And do you think you've got a professional mindset firstly? And like, what is it like? Because it is a shift coming out of drama school.
Yeah, it is
like,
a shift.
Here we go. Like, this is now pretty serious.
I actually think my mindset was pretty good from that first professional thing I did, you know, with Dan at 16. I think I've just been lucky to have that mindset for whatever reason. And I guess the good thing about having that mindset, if I may say so, is that it's attractive to people, and therefore you're more likely then to get roles, things, opportunities that then allows you to further nurture the mindset. So it's like a positive reinforcement thing. Does that make sense? It's like it's like a positive, whatever the opposite of a vicious circle is, the positive side of that, whatever that is.
I know what you mean.
You know, it keeps it keeps growing in that respect. Slightly nuanced to that is that although I've always sort of benefited from a professional mindset, working hard, being polite, doing the homework, all that sort of stuff, turning up on time, whatever you classify as that, what I have struggled with is not believing in myself.
Okay. Because I think that's,
if that forms part of having a professional mindset, then maybe I don't have it as well as
I think it's quite common.
Yeah. We spoke about it today, but so yes, I've luckily had it always. So the shift wasn't too big for me, I think.
Yeah,
which is I feel very grateful for. But now, the cool thing now is that I do believe in myself for whatever reason. I don't even know why.
But it is good. You kind of need to.
Yeah, I actually do know why. That was a lie, because I've worked so hard on it with my counseling. Yeah, that's why. Because I tell you now, if I didn't do counseling, I still wouldn't believe in myself, even though I've done really cool things.
And you kind of need to believe in yourself to have that professional.
It makes it easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say is a professional mindset?
I think it's the stuff that I've mentioned. Being on time.
Yeah.
Doing your homework. Going above and beyond what the homework is. You know, having what do you call that when you go and do things off your own bat? Yeah, being proactive. Exactly. Thank you, Kaitlin, from downtown. Being proactive in your jobs.
Yeah.
Being polite, being easy to work with,
taking things seriously,
like working hard.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm not outing people. But you know, even at a drama school, sometimes there are moments where it's like you're just surprised.
Yeah, you're doing this?
Yeah. It's like, what?
I mean, the sad reality of it is that you look around at your classmates and you think maybe 3 of them are going to have a sustained career in the arts, you know?
Yeah.
And that's down to mindset. It's nothing to do with talent. And people used to say that to me a lot. And I used to think, oh, come on, that's being harsh. But now, like, I'm confident enough to say that for sure. And I go around and I teach a lot too. And I see that it's like, well, there's like 3 of you that I would trust to put on a show, you know?
Yeah.
And it just sticks out like a sore thumb. You guys have definitely been in a room where that's the case. You kind of just see, yeah, could do it. They're not necessarily the best people. The dream is that, like, when both things collide, but they're just the people who are ready. They're willing to learn, go for it, ask why.
Yeah.
You know, all these things we're mentioning.
The thing that I have started to get maybe frustrated at is when, you know, you ask, oh, well, like, why is this, like, how is this beneficial? When you're wanting to learn outside of what you're being taught, like this exercise that we're doing, like, what does it kind of lead into? Asking these questions. And when, you know, some people are just like, well, can we just get on with the exercise? It's like, well, I want to learn, like, why I'm doing the exercise. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
That you're the why.
Yeah.
I think it's hard, isn't it? I think that's great. What is difficult is that we live in a society where there's so much time and slash money pressures. They're basically the same thing. And you'd be surprised at how much you have to do the why out of hours. Because when you're in the room, you have to make stuff quick.
It's true.
But you're right. The why is fundamental.
Because I want to learn
together.
Why I'm learning what I'm learning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of learning in that sentence.
Yeah.
But I think, because at the stage I'm at, I'm learning.
Yeah.
Like, the whole reason I'm doing what I'm doing is to learn. And you don't have to, I think it's fair to say, you don't have to go to an institution or a drama school, whatever, to learn, because it's very possible to learn whilst working.
Yeah.
I guess they are just different routes, and not everyone's lucky enough to have the route of learning whilst on the job.
Yeah. And failing, right? That's the best thing. I feel like these are the moments you have that you can fail safely.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely say that drama school is the place to go to fail.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the course as a whole, but whilst you're on the course.
100%.
You want to fail. You want to try things, and then for them to not work. You know.
Say it's Mike, because they might not have told me. But my lecturer calls it a brave space, not safe space. It's a controversial statement.
So Kaitlin just said, I don't know how well it can pick up, you're quite far back now, that your lecturer says it's a brave space, not a safe space. Was it you, or it might have been someone else who had mentioned that, it might have been one of my teachers, the whole thing with something being called a safe space is that it makes it not safe or something? Like there was some thought about like calling something a safe space doesn't then necessarily actually make it safe.
No, exactly. Yeah, you can't just brand something and expect it to happen. You have to create and nurture the conditions to make it so.
Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. I also, I think it is good to question your teachers as well. So I think, say like why is this being done? But also, your teachers are also humans, and like
correct.
You got to be aware of that. It's so weird, like. Because obviously I've been in education my whole life, but I used to think of adults and teachers as like had everything kind of down, like they're on top of everything. And whilst they are, not every single day, and you can't.
They just have more practice of winging it.
Yeah. Waking up,
they get better waking up as you go along. Yeah, but they also train. You're right. I mean, I'm being sort of facetious and like joking about it, but you get to a point where if your knowledge, if we plot knowledge on a graph, your knowledge gets to the point where you can afford to make it up as you go along. And actually, those are the moments that are most delicious, where the most room for creativity happens, because you're free then to kind of like riff like a jazz musician. Jazz is like probably the perfect metaphor for that. You need to be so good at music that then you're just riffing, and it all sounds good.
So cool. Yeah, it's very true.
But sometimes I guess you have to wing it and fake it till you make it too. Lots of things true at the same time.
Yeah, most of what I'm doing at the moment is just kind of making up as I go.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. Come on.
But then you look back on it and you realize that you actually learned something whilst doing
100%.
And then it's like, oh man, that's really cool.
Also, learning that you can fake it to make it is amazing.
Yeah,
there are people that faking it still, but they're not. Is the thing. Does that make sense? They've mastered it to a point where it's not even faking anymore.
It's become real.
It's become real.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah. Cool. Let's keep having a look. I mean, this kind of just ends up just being random waffly conversation, but I love that. Yeah, I think
it's what it's for, right?
Do you have any standout career moments? And any like, well, I think it's kind of self-explanatory.
I think I mentioned most of them already. Probably my first TV gig was special, even though it's like the tiniest role ever. Just to be able to like get that on my CV was really cool.
Which show was that?
That was the Responder from BBC.
Yeah, I was gonna, because there's a couple now, isn't there, on your Instagram? But you've Responder and
Brassic is the next big one, and then but again, these are tiny roles, but that was a big deal. Like I remember celebrating that one, which is really really cool, just to be on get some on the BBC, and you have to, I'm under no illusion that that's in the grand scheme of things is absolutely nothing. Like I see that too, but that was a big moment for me, because so prestigious company, whatever. If I tell my family in Brazil that I've been in a BBC things, they lose their mind. So, and getting the main part in a Frantic show was next level.
That is so cool.
That was next level. Those are just some that I think about.
Yeah, I mean, you're still quite young.
Yeah,
in your 20s,
26. Yeah.
nearly there.
It's all downhill from here.
But you've got kind of loads to do. I'm so
Yeah.
excited just to track like what you do. Like,
Thanks, man. Yeah,
progress.
hopefully it'll be good. I'm always trying to do the next thing, just take small steps. In an industry where actually, I don't know if that happens that often, or maybe it does. Maybe it happens more often than we think. But we just get fed instant success. You see someone that's just finished the drama school and they get the next Game of Thrones thing. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, someone.
That's like a 0.01%.
Yeah, someone went straight into a West End show. Greece, wasn't it? Recently, went straight from drama school.
Frozen had an Emmy Grant played Anna.
Oh, nice.
And Sunset Boulevard has Grace Hudgy. She left Mountview, went straight Sunset Boulevard, and is now going straight to Hayes.
Look at that.
Yeah,
So this is amazing.
Yeah.
But so these are things we remember.
Yeah,
but it's actually 0.1%.
Yeah, it's true. It's not realistic for everyone.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of people, including myself, kind of coming into this, it's like, yeah, I'm going to go to train for a drama school, and then I'm going to go on West End, and it's
You
like,
might.
But at the same time, you might have to work quite a while to get to that point as well.
Yeah.
If you do, someone was saying, in terms of like America and the way like the Broadway system works, you kind of have to like earn your spot. Not many people go straight there. They have to do many years touring, have to do many years doing other things before they kind of have like earned their way to a Broadway
that's
show.
interesting. Yeah.
And that's kind of generally how it works. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I think it was like a lecturer or someone who seemed to have some sort of high level understanding of the way things worked.
So,
I don't want the American audience to be like, "What? That's not true," and slate me. Yeah,
really?
it was on an episode about a performer in America, and I wouldn't say that our research was wrong. Just our opinion from the research was different to
the status quo.
Yeah.
No.
But nothing major. Most things are when I'm in podcast mode, or when I'm in like I have to social mode. Like I'm so serious until I loosen up. So I'm sorry. What was it from? Enlighten me.
High School Musical.
Again, I wouldn't. No music references. I watched it, but I wouldn't. See, 2 years ago.
You guys are,
being 19 now doesn't feel right in my head, and I think this might be because of COVID and the whole like blip, but I'm still like 16, 17 in my head.
I mean,
I'm not.
It probably is a lot to do with the pandemic, but I also think that, I don't know, I ask my parents and they still think that they're younger than they are. I think you always think that if you're good up here, you probably always think that, and by good, I mean you have your sort of faculties and wits about you, probably think you're younger than you are, and you look in the mirror. So how many times have you heard older people say that they look in the mirror and they're like, who is that person?
Yeah. You're not kind of realizing you're changing.
Yeah, and plus when you get to my age, I guess, when I was your age, I didn't have a proper beard. I had like a bit.
Like this.
like
a weird
with little scraggly bits, little peach fuzz.
Yeah.
But no, but I was the same. So, but now I look back and I think like I'm a man now, and I will be for a long time. So I think I'm trying to explain why you look back and you think, what?
Yeah.
Where's all that gone? I also have a lot of grey hair, which already catapults me.
Yeah, no, I noticed.
It's a lot further than I am.
Not loads, but like...
It is a lot. It's because it's quite short now.
Listen. Got it short as well.
Come on.
You can probably see
Looks
maybe
good.
a few greys.
I don't know. Wait.
I've got a couple.
Caitlin's nodding.
Whenever I do like dance things, people like gather around, just pick out all the grey hairs.
No way.
I have a
that to me, I'd have no hair left.
I'd take out half of it. Yeah. No, I like the short look. I think it's just better. It opens my face up.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, but beforehand, I don't know if you've seen an old podcast, but it's like down curly covering around here.
I think I have. Yeah, I must have.
Yeah, I got this last week.
Nice. Looks good.
Yeah, but it was long. Man bunnable. I was wearing it in a man bun in my lessons.
Man bunnable.
Yeah.
You need to coin that term. Yeah. Man bunnable.
Hair.
TM.
Yeah. Trademark it. It was, I'm going to say bad. To be completely honest with you, it was bad.
I had a man bun once.
Oh,
we all go for it.
Yeah, didn't suit me.
I mean, I don't know if mine suited me. I had loads of girl space friends that used to kind of slate me for it.
Yeah. I think my friends were like nice about it, but
because they like you.
Doesn't necessarily mean
Yeah.
that they thought
They were
it was a good look.
approving.
Yeah. I've got a question here, but I feel like I already know the answer. It's about periods of time where you don't have work.
Mm-hmm.
And like, has that been something that you've experienced much of? If you have, how did you cope with it? If you haven't, well done.
What do you think the answer is?
I think the answer is that you've been pretty consistent. I think.
I guess it also kind of, you mean by work, you mean like performing?
Yeah, by work. Yeah, I think you've been pretty consistent
Since the pandemic. Yeah, I mean, probably in the sort of grand scheme of art things, probably. But yeah,
but has it
give
like
myself a pat on the back?
Woo! Has it been, do you think, quite different work? Because has it kind of gone like, from like one thing to like this is very different, and that's different, and that's different.
Yeah, a bit. And I do go through like months sometimes where I don't have anything, but then I'm lucky enough to my muggle job is also very creative, so I feel fulfilled doing it.
What is your muggle job?
I'm a practitioner for Frantic.
Muggle job? That's
Muggle
not
job.
Muggle job.
We'll take the lot.
Harry Potter reference right there. Which I didn't understand. I just knew it was from Harry Potter. Is it? Wait, hold on. I'm so bad. Honestly, it's terrible.
Kaitlin, what is it?
Okay, I thought.
Oh
so.
no! Wait, what? Take the lot. That was Ron. I just did it in a Dobby voice, though. You're right. We'll take the lot. Not me, not Hermione, you.
Have you seen the new dancing that has come out with that? Oh, great, but also weird.
Weird. Yeah.
Ooh, very weird.
What was the question?
I don't know. About your muggle job. The point was.
So maybe
is that a muggle job?
It's not too muggly. Yeah, that's my whole point.
Not too muggy.
It's not too muggly. That's my whole point. Yeah. So I get to That's why I kind of asked. Is like what you classing as?
Yeah.
And I also, from time to time do my own workshops. I'm not affiliated with Frantic.
Buried Thunder.
Still going? So Buried Thunder is still going. We were unsuccessful, sad face, with a Arts Council bid just this week. But it's still going. It's what I do when I'm not working. Is I throw a lot of my time and energy into the next project with Buried Thunder. And it's been really sort of good for that. Because even if it doesn't go anywhere, even if it doesn't have an output, the process, again, is still fulfilling. And I'm putting my creative brain to use in that way too. And sometimes my non-creative brain, having to write applications and do budgets and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of deal with those off moments. Yeah.
Nice.
It's been good doing this. You get to reflect and... sometimes I still think though that it looks better from the outside. The grass is always greener. But it's not really nice to hear that you be like, yeah, you've been consistent. Because I wouldn't jump to that conclusion necessarily.
You should not.
But I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah, I do. I think the very first question I asked you, which was about influencers.
Yeah.
I think if I was asked that, your name would come up. I think.
I don't know.
I know. Hey, wait. This isn't about what you think. This is about what I think. You can have your own opinion, but my answer, you would come up because I see the work that you do, and even though it's not like Hollywood, and I know lots of people, their answers to influencers is like, oh, this big celebrity,
it's massive,
which isn't necessarily, I think, super helpful.
Yeah.
I think like what I see of what you do, and from the conversations that we've had, it's just honest work. It's just the realistic life.
Yeah, I appreciate that
of someone who has made performance their full time kind of gig, which you have.
Yeah,
and I think the stuff that you've done is like stuff that I would want to do.
Thank you so
for
much,
that
Josh.
reason. I would honestly, and this isn't just me being a bumlick. Like I do actually. Genuinely
what a way to put it.
Generally, Caitlin's crying in the corner.
So nice and meaningful.
It's brilliant. Undercut it. We like it.
The thing is that I can't say things nice and meaningful without having to.
Totally
it just makes me more comfortable.
No, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
It's true though.
It's hard, but it's honest work. That's from something. I don't know where that's from, but it's from something.
You and your references.
Maybe I'll do it in a Cockney accent. Next
I'm not
time.
a great person to be around if you do lots of
References.
references, because I would just blank them, because I just be
Yeah,
like,
next.
that's the way my brain works. It's terrible because I don't know
It's
what
not
I would
terrible. It's
what I
just
would say or what I'd
different.
do or how I'd react.
Yeah, I
I'd
mean,
just be
well,
like,
the reason I probably do so many references is because of the same reason, though.
yeah,
Because I'm, trying to just add to the conversation.
oh, that's fair. It's a good point, actually. Yeah, I think everyone has this idea, or has this. There's a word for it. What is?
It's hard, but it's honest work. That one.
It's a meme. You're referencing memes now.
It's like a farmer.
Yeah, sure. If it focuses, will it not focus?
Yeah, it did.
Has it?
It's
just
hard.
subconsciously. I completely lost what I was saying. Oh yeah, I think everyone has this idea that like performers and people in the industry are like the most outgoing, like always
No
full
way.
energy.
I know so many introverted people.
Yeah, and I am quite like that. I can be very, especially in situations that I'm like not the most or super comfortable with, or it's like, first time talking to someone in ages or
Yeah.
ever. It is, and I feel there's a pressure because it's like, but you're a performer, you're an actor,
Well, I mean-
you're you've got to be, and I see it with like someone doing a podcast as people at college, may have watched an episode, and in fact they watched like an hour of me talking, and they speak to me at college, and I'm just like, I'm not the same person. Do you know what I mean about?
Yeah, I
like,
do. I
kind of
think it's
pressure.
a heavy burden to carry.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite normal actually. People introverted in the arts, and I think possibly the two things shouldn't be seen as mutually inclusive. I think that they can be exclusive, and I think part of the reason why people get drawn to the arts is because it's like a therapy for them anyway. ASMR. Oh, the reason why people get so drawn to the arts, if they're introverted, is that it's therapy. So they can be that extrovert person.
If it's just gonna be the rest of the episode,
No,
I think our viewers would all just click off.
They can be the maybe it gives them a platform to express themselves where they might not have that. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I need to ask you a question so you can talk and I can eat. I've got very peckish. They're very nice, actually.
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah. I'd ask, so my parents, they're great. Because I watch each episode, they've become an audience, and I always ask them, like, do you have any like things that you'd want to
Ask.
And so I don't know why, but my mum went, and this is quite personal now, but very much into their finance things, because I don't think she believes that I can financially keep myself stable in this career. And so she was wanting to know about, like, how do you kind of cope with finances when work isn't always consistent?
Great question, Josh's mum.
Well done.
How do I cope? You need a muggle job to fall back to, or mugglish, as we've established. That's for sure. And then you might get lucky enough to have a contract that is quite lucrative. What you need to do, I guess, is just be frugal with your money. Just make sure that you're putting stuff away for a rainy day. As long as you're doing that, you should be okay. I feel like, I don't get paid extraordinarily well, so I do that. I'm pretty good with money. You got to be just quite tight-fisted, I suppose. Yeah. And make it stretch, make it happen. It's hard living in London, though. That's for sure. Doing it.
I like the location though, because it's like just kind of outskirts.
Outskirtsy-ish, so it ends up being a little bit cheaper. Yeah.
Would you like one?
It's a hard one. Thanks.
Offering you your own crisp.
My own crisp. These are my girlfriend's favorite. Shout out to Nia.
They're really good.
They're excellent.
You're not gonna have it.
Yeah, you just gotta make it happen. And but I mean, I'd be remiss to say that you shouldn't have something to fall back on that's more flexible and allows you to audition and do the work when it comes. People, I guess that's the norm.
Yeah.
So it's a good. Your mum asks a question, which is poignant, and lots of people want to know the answer to. It's a very popular question. But you just kind of make it work.
You could keep money aside, like be aware.
You
of
got
the
it, man.
facts.
You absolutely
Yeah.
got to.
Be very tight.
Yeah.
Don't go out partying 4 times a week.
Yeah, which is easy to do in this industry.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to do as a student.
Yeah.
I've been very strict. Once every couple of weeks, I'll let myself chill.
I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
I feel like potentially the mindset needs to be you're doing this job, being a performer, full time, but you also need a part-time job, which is mental, isn't it?
I know,
It's
it is
mental.
crazy.
Unless you're in work, obviously. Don't do a part-time job when you're in work,
That'd be crazy.
unless you totally have to. Please don't.
Yeah.
For your well-being.
Part-time and full-time.
That's the kind of mindset I feel like, which is no wonder that people are like, this is hard. Have you absolutely scrammed it?
I have. They were really good. Very peckish.
That's what they were there for.
Dinner. It's terrible.
So yeah, that's a good question though.
Yeah. I think, just from like her point of view, it's just like having a child who's going into an unstable career compared to her other child who's going into a very stable career. Like,
Just tell the other child to sustain the other child.
Yeah. Samuel, send me half your weight.
Samuel, come on, pull your finger out.
I know. Yeah, he's into like geography and
Nice. I love
like
geography
that,
and biology.
Oh, I never got on well with academics. I gave it a good crack,
That's all you can ask.
but I didn't enjoy them.
I got
Being
you.
practical is like the most academic thing I do now, weirdly, is the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that.
The writing,
The prep.
and prep beforehand. Otherwise, I don't do my course. I do a couple essays each year, and that's it. And yeah, Kaitlin's jealous. But your course is very different. It's much more academic than mine. And like even then, this whole thing is more academic than that, which is very strange. Yeah. Sometimes I just wish I love doing my podcast. It's brilliant. I get to have chats with people like you. But sometimes it's just like, oh, I wish I had like the next 2 weeks off.
Just off. Yeah, I
but
feel that.
December's always like
even
for
good
everyone
things.
is busy.
Oh yeah, that's tiring.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything like you wanted to talk about? Anything that you like, just aside from being like peppered with questions?
No, I love this because the chance to reflect is really useful.
Yeah, chance to reflect is always
Always really good.
always good.
No, not really. I guess it's sometimes really tough to remain optimistic and positive about trajectories and futures and careers, and I always come back to that you just got to keep going. Because the alternative is worse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it. It's so simple in my head.
Yeah, in that case, I'll keep going. Halfway through, no, I'm joking. I've asked this one before to one of the students we've had on. But as a working professional, it'd be kind of interesting to kind of see what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on where the industry is going currently, and how us young people may this obviously is just an opinion, but where you think maybe it'll be good for us to approach it, because it's always changing. Everything's and kind of getting into it now would be very different to 10 years ago. Your
Great
thoughts? Do you have an
question.
idea?
I probably have 3 things to say about that.
3 things is good.
First is that kind of social media, TikTok, digitalization of things is probably pretty good to get your head around. Seems useful. And kind of possibly as much as you can, I guess, keep up with the tech. I don't know. Having said that, I've got a sneaky suspicion that live events and things like this will become ever more sort of coveted and possibly rare and sought after. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the industry as a result of that. What I have seen, the second thing is that I think the industry, especially in London, which I guess is a symptom of the bigger thing I'm about to say, is that things are becoming expensive to go and watch and to partake in.
Yeah.
And so it feels like possibly theatre is becoming a more elite sport than it has been, I feel like.
Okay.
nothing based on fact or anything. So I say it with a bit of
but I think
holding back.
I probably would agree, because
That's bad. That's a bad thing when you start to whatever the opposite of democratize is, theater. That's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Make it elite.
Yeah,
when I think that's meant to be
because of
for
prices
people
as well.
Yeah.
But I think I would agree, because coming to London, I was like, I could go and watch shows like each week. I could always go into London and watch things, and I think I've watched 2 since being here.
I mean, maybe
You were watching, that was like a present. No, so
There you
like
go.
the things that I do get to watch
are gifted.
are gifted,
Yeah.
and it hasn't been able or possible for me to, continuously go and watch things. I just saw actually on your, is that an Amazon thingy? It popped up with recently played Moulin Rouge, which was one of the shows that I actually watched.
Went to watch.
Which was really good, but I was really hoping that I could kind of go more, and it's just not that possible.
Yeah.
Also, most of the students that I see who are going to watch shows, it's because they win like the lottery tickets for them. Like they, it is not actually that possible for us to just casually go and there
are some good schemes out there to
there
get
are good
cheaper
ones.
tickets, but
There are.
You're right. I mean, it's relatively inaccessible, I feel. I mean, what's interesting to think about is whether if you believe in trickle down economics to an extent, I suppose, is whether that means that the fringe theatre scene will get bigger and therefore more accessible, or whether it will also shrink the fringe theatre scene too, because no one's going to go watch it because they have to also bump their ticket prices up in order to compete. That sort of stuff. Interesting to see where that would go, but touring is becoming much harder in this country. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
So that can't also be a good thing. So you tend to get more commercial stuff, which is, dare I say it, artistically less rich as a generally, albeit excellent stuff, oftentimes. So that's the second sort of point I had to say. And I guess the third point is that theatre and art is resilient performance in general. So whatever you think like the downsides of the future is, it'll always poke its head in a sort of moment of shining glory and hope, I think.
Yeah, I think it's always something good to reflect on, and always just be thinking about, because it's quite scary.
Yeah, it is.
Being young as well, going into it.
Yeah, your mum's question, right? It's like, can you live out of this?
I mean,
the answer is like yes, but it's hard. Yeah,
it's very tough.
But so is everything.
It's true.
I always think that too. Everyone is struggling.
But I guess the uncertainty doesn't help.
No, that's for sure.
Whereas if you know that you're in a job that you can stay in for that year, and you know what your pay is going to be, you can kind of plan your life around that.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas this, you've kind of got to plan.
You can't plan, basically.
Yeah. Well, very hard you can't. You kind of have to. Your life just has to just chop and change and move around, kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice that you make for sure.
Yeah, and so I guess it's appreciating those moments of stability.
100%.
Yeah, I am really excited to kind of get into it, but I think that's just because I've got this thing in my brain where I don't actually think necessarily about like what is scary about things and pitfalls, and I just go like, oh yeah,
that's brilliant, man. Keep that as long as you can. Yeah.
All right,
forever.
I will. Yeah.
Do it. Yeah, think of the good things, good consequences.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do have a little bit of a glass half empty mindset, but it's you don't need to nod as enthusiastically about that. But I am working on like shifting that.
I think both are useful depending on where you utilize them, I suppose.
Okay.
Glass half empty is good because when you're surprised pleasantly, it's very pleasant. So if your ambitions are lower or expectations are slightly lower, if you surpass, you have more chance of surpassing them, which is a positive effect.
Yes. In that case, I might stay glass half
empty. Glass half full is good because you're, I guess, in general, kind of more positive maybe, and you're trying to reach, and you have ambition to reach maybe higher places.
Yeah.
But probably both are useful, and depending on how you utilize it.
Mm.
My other half is definitely glass half empty rather than full, but she utilizes it in a way that helps her sort of seek ambition and understanding and calm.
Is this quite a creative household? Like, are you both in like the kind of creative kind of?
She is a creative person, although she probably wouldn't say that. She works as an SEN, special educational needs teacher for primary schools. She's an angel.
Yeah,
she studied the same course.
My mother had a part of her life was doing
it. Yeah, I mean, she's absolutely amazing, and she's super creative in her job because she's constantly problem solving, constantly.
It's true,
and making up cool stuff for the children to do, you know. So she would say no, but yeah, you're right. Probably is a creative household as households go.
Yeah. For the future, then, kind of looking forwards, do you have your eyes set on anything? Is there anything that like you'd want to do?
I am more general when it comes to the future. I just want to keep going, developing, going further, doing bigger things. That's all I want. With the knowledge that I can take my time.
Yeah.
The knowledge not necessarily is different in practice, isn't it? You sort of start to get itchy butt syndrome because you want to just get up and do stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I want. And one of the cool things is becoming sort of a little bit better known in the circles that you're operating in. That's like a nice feeling that people start to kind of know who you are. Did you just do the Frantic show? Oh yeah, did you come see it? That sort of stuff. That is awesome. Like, and that's a good place to be.
Yeah, and it all links back to networking, and it just makes it easier going ahead. The more that you've connected, and
momentum, right?
Yes,
momentum is an important thing.
Do you have any ideas of what will be next? Because once you've finished tour, like, how does finishing the tour work? Like, how do you? Is it quite literally last show
left to dry?
Yeah.
Hung out to dry, but no, it's no one's fault. Like, that's just the way the industry is. I mean, hung out to dry more or less, you know, being really sort of facetious with that because in the company that I work for, I work for in a teaching capacity too. So they definitely cradle me and offer me stuff after that, which is absolutely fantastic and an absolute privilege. But I think I have like some ideas of where it might go. I'm kind of battling currently, sort of maybe doing stuff that I want to do that I haven't done as much in, maybe like screen and bigger sort of acting roles that aren't so physical. But also the fact that my CV is so physical and theatre driven. And so the roles that I get are likely physical and theatre.
Yeah.
And both physical theatre.
But I guess it's always nice to kind of broaden your repertoire and become like absolutely. A diverse. Because some of my favorite performers. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because if you're a master in a niche, you will never have to look for work ever again.
Yeah.
But if you're broad, you know it's also easier to find work.
Yeah, you have lots of different pies to put your finger in.
So yes and no. It's tough, that isn't it? That's a tough one.
Yeah. I think I know that I'm still quite young, but in a way I think I've made that decision of which route I'm going to go, because I chose, instead of going for a pure dance course, to become a master in my style of dance. I went for
go on.
I went for all three. Yeah,
nice.
I went for musical theatre, and you know, I'm dipping my pies into my fingers in the pies of singing.
Dipping my pies in the fingers of destiny.
I heard that phrase by teachers, and now I just use it, but not correctly, it seems. But yeah, like I'm giving things a go in like lots of different.
So you should, especially when you're
areas.
Younger.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't matter too much.
Hey,
I can still choose.
We've landed on something good there. You should probably be a generalist up until a point where the niche will present itself.
Yeah, I like that.
You can have that one.
Yeah, we can. We'll quote that. We'll make a little clip. Hopefully, the AI tool, but it does some of our being put up. Wouldn't that be great?
Please pick it up.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I've decided. I've decided going to go for all three instead of just pure contemporary dance, and get experience in all three.
And
And
the cool
see
thing is that
afterwards.
contemporary is always there to go back
It's
to.
true, and I feel like I could. I taught a class to a dance society at a university, and it was a contemporary class, and I hadn't done anything like that in so long since I taught Key Stage 3, and it was really nice to be like, I've still got that. Like I can teach
That's such a
technique class in that style to a high level.
That
as
should
well.
be your Muglish job.
Maybe, but I also like climbing, and
Oh, that could be your Muggle. That is kind of Muggle.
yeah,
It's not Mugglish.
that is.
It's creative, but not in the
No,
arts.
it's not creative in the arts. No, it's but it's something I enjoy, and
You got a good physique. I feel like the Cambridge genes are made for climbing.
Yeah, I guess so. Me and Noah and my brother.
Wait,
yeah,
what?
but I don't know. My dad used to.
Noah's not your bro. You said like
Me
comma.
No. Sorry, me and Noah and my brother.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
wouldn't that be a surprise for you? No, me, Noah, and my brother. I don't know if Honor does if climbs much. But
don't
like,
know
I
either.
think that's something we're all into. But I don't know about.
It's the spindly limbs, man,
Yeah. Oh no, he's very tall, and I that's something I didn't. Get.
and thin and
Yeah.
like stretchy to no like
Yeah.
unbelievable.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
That's him outside in the car beeping. I don't know if you caught that on the microphone.
It probably didn't. Honestly, I've done this for a while now, but I still have no idea what each episode's audio is going to turn out like. It's always different.
Potluck.
But in terms of the genes, like I've got the smaller genes. I've got the 5'9".
Oh, you got the
You know, it's not brilliant. My brother was even unlucky. He's like the 5'7" genes, maybe.
That's
5'9".
brilliant for dancing.
What, being smaller?
Yeah, center of gravity low to the floor.
I'd say for dance, I'm at a good height. But
Yeah.
just for general life, sucks.
Reach that top shelf.
Yeah, it's annoying. But
I'm
yeah, for
also
dance, it's good.
vertically challenged.
Yeah, smaller than me.
You'd find out a lot of people in Frantic are small.
Mm-hmm.
They're like my height.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Crazy.
Yeah. I need to
With a
shrink
few
get
very
into
notable exceptions. They're
Yeah.
very, very tall.
I'm going to keep going for ignition.
So you should.
And keep kind of getting my face out there.
Yes.
You know, because I would love to one day. I think it'll be really fun. And I also feel ready as well.
That's really important. That's what I feel in my career now. I feel ready. Whereas before, possibly faking it.
Yeah. A lot of things I am faking, but the drive to do stuff, I'm ready to get on, you know. I mean, it's the whole thing with going to university. I'd felt ready to come to uni for a good year before. In my final year of A-levels, I was like, I want to stop this and just go to uni now, or drama school. I don't need to do this last year of A-levels. I just want to crack on. But I don't know, maybe I'll see how long that lasts for as well.
Yeah, you don't put a time limit on it.
No, next year I might be like, oh, I'm done.
I'm done.
Whatever,
Get me out.
You know, too much. I'm excited though. I think that's the
great.
biggest
That's
thing.
a good takeaway.
Yeah.
Good
Awesome.
man.
Anything you wanted to I don't know, discuss, talk about? Questions for me?
I am fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
We've done a good work here.
Yeah. I don't know how long it's been, but
It's been a pleasure.
wow, that's very good.
Nice.
Yeah. A 2-hour one's long. I've got to travel home. I can travel home. Yeah.
Thanks for coming all this way.
Thanks for having me. You know, I feel so privileged. You're my, you know,
Am I your first at-home guest?
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Away, I should say.
away, because I've done episodes nearby at my friend's student accommodation.
Okay, gotcha.
Because they had it was an episode with 2 people, and I needed a bigger space. But this is the first one where I traveled for.
Nice. Away
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, and you're also. I mean, our last guest has just got a professional job after graduation. But you're our first far into the industry kind of. You know, that's a must. This is a milestone. I'm going to write this down.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Down.
One of our oldest, and you know,
I'll
touring.
take that. That's the
Yeah.
first time I think I've been that person,
Really.
which is great.
That's
I'll write
so
that
nice.
down.
That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
nice, though, isn't it?
That is good. Full circle.
Awesome. Right. Well, maybe this is where we wrap up. I
Nice.
don't want to though. That's the thing. I want to keep talking for hours. But it's probably is sensible to. And I feel like we've covered so much.
We have, yeah.
So yeah, I do hope that we get a really interesting episode out of this. I think we have.
Nice.
We'll see what our
Good
audience
job,
is. See what our audience says. Do you want to do a little zoom in on me as I do my outro? my well prepared outro. Well, thank you everyone for watching the podcast. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment if you enjoyed it. We don't get enough of them, so I'd appreciate some more. Follow our socials; they'll be in the description. They'll probably change as well. You'll notice we're going to undergo a rebrand soon to find a name more suitable to the type of content that we put out there. So yeah, thank you for watching. I love this episode. I mean, I love all of them, but Felipe will also be in the description. You can find what's the correct, because you've got a couple handles.
I do. The professional one is felipe.g.pacheco, and that's on Instagram. You can find me there.
Is that how you say it?
Pacheco.
Pacheco. Is that how I should start
Gotta
saying
say it loud and proud. You know what? One thing, I love you guys. I love your material. But when people come on, they don't say their names with pride.
Okay.
They don't say it. It's
Yeah.
like the only thing we own. Felipe Pacheco.
Yeah, you've heard of that. Joshua Cambridge.
Come on.
That's me.
Come on.
And I'm proud to say
Yes.
that. Wow, I love that. I'm gonna start reminding my guests.
Do it, man.
You know, say your name
Say
with
it
pride.
Pride.
Well, thank you for watching or listening this far. Yeah, make sure that you check that you have followed the certain platform that you're on, because then you kind of get all the other episodes that are coming out. I really enjoy doing these. I want to continue doing these, and you guys, you know, showing us the support is great motivation. I've got nothing else to say. I don't know if you've got anything you want to just
See you on the flip side.
see on the flip side.
So good.
Okay, well, bye everyone.